So the God of War universe and the games in general just had to be one of the best, and I mean one of the best games of all time. I don't think there has been a bad God of War game. Maybe Ascension was bad, or I don't know. I really haven't heard anything bad about the God of War franchise as a whole. But again, we really don't talk about can these characters or can a character clear or basically do what Kratos does, because we really don't think that any character could do what Kratos does naturally. However, we're going to be doing exactly that today. And as you guys saw in the title, this is the Sun Wukong edition. So, we're going to set some ground rules here. So, we're going to use the lowest end for Sun Wukong and scale that to the God of War universe. Or we're going to see if the God of War 3 Greek Pantheon is able to scale to Sun Wukong at his lowest. Because if you guys don't know, Sun Wukong is like 3 layers into the Autoversal category, so he would honestly curb stump. However, we're going to use Sun Wukong's low end here and scale him to God of War. Alright, we're going to see if Sun Wukong has the capabilities to really be, you know, competing at God of War when they're at their lowest level, or when he's at his lowest level. Apologies. So let's talk about it, right? So Sun Wukong comes from the Buddhism or the Japanese Pantheon. Now, this Pantheon, or at least his cosmology, contains 3 realms that are infinite in size. This is heaven, the human world, and the underworld. And I hope I am saying this right, because I had to do a lot of this research for it. But again, Sun Wukong in these 3 regions, or these 3 realms, are infinite in size, right? And the gods, or the deities, apologies, are able to destroy them. Now keep in mind, these realms also contain pocket universes or pocket dimensions that are also infinite in size, essentially making these realms multiverses. So essentially 3 multiverses, or I think it was just the underworld and the heavens that contain pocket dimensions, which would again make them multiverses nevertheless here. And the heavens and the underworld are beyond the likes of space and time. So Sun Wukong being able to fight these 7 deities who are capable of destroying these realms, including the Knights of Nirvana, which is again a form of the afterlife. This will put Sun Wukong at a complex multiversal level, because he's easily beyond, you know, space and time and things of that caliber. So Sun Wukong should easily be a complex multiversal being at his lowest. So what can Sun Wukong do? What is he able to do? What are hacks and abilities? Well, Sun Wukong is an expert in martial arts, able to use every form of weapon imaginable, but he normally sticks with his bow staff. He can actually clone himself like an innumerable number of times. He actually has magic, able to cast spells, able to block attacks from the 7 deities, and he's also able to, you know, negate their attacks as well. He's been able to negate fire, water, and wind attacks. He's even been able to reduce them themselves, even making a hurricane come out of his mouth, and actually was able to shake continents and even cause tsunamis. So he's absolutely broken when it comes down to it. Like, this man could teleport, he could actually extend his staff, he can actually grow as well. He can actually grow to such a size that he's able to, I think, even hold the universe in the palm of his hand, which is again absolutely ridiculous. So basically, we have a guy that can pretty much use every power in fiction. I don't think he has telepathy, but it's very possible he could create it. He can also create beings that are very similar, if not the exact same copy as the other beings, with the same powers and the same abilities as those said beings. So for example, if he goes against, well, since this guy is going to be in a video, matter of fact, let's use another one. Let's say he fights against God of War Hermes, and he doesn't want to deal with that annoying prick at all. He'll just simply pull out his hair and just throw it on the ground, and it'll create another Hermes. So basically, he really has no limits to what he can do. Again, this man is also immortal. This man has about, I think, like 94 or at least 1,000 different layers of immortality. This is because he swallowed a jug containing immortal pills, and then he wrote his name out of the book of death. Like, bro, what? Like, it's absolutely ridiculous the stuff that Sun Wukong can do. Like, this man is absolutely doing some ridiculous stuff. And again, we're using the low end for Sun Wukong here. So again, the lowest end I could really give this man is Complex Multiversal Plus. Again, this is the lowest end possible here. But let's move on to the God of War universe, right? Or at least the Greek Pantheon. Now, the Greek Pantheon pretty much has some pretty similar and pretty easy scaling here. They scale above... Okay, so let me pause that. The Primordials are the lowest on the chain, right? The Titans scale above the Primordials. The gods or the Olympians scale above the Titans, who scale above the Primordials, and Zeus scale above the... Zeus scales above the Olympians, who scales above the Titans, who scales above the Primordials. So what are the Primordials? The Primordials are basically living concepts like life, death, justice, vengeance, reality, space, time, all that. And this also includes beings like Morpheus, who's the concepts of dreams and mind, the Sisters of Fate, who are the embodiments of justice and vengeance. You even have the other Primordials that represented like death, like Thanatos. And then you have the Titans, who scale above them. Titans like Atlas are easily capable of holding up all of pretty much existence itself here. And this is an existence that is multi-layered, or at least an infinite layered hierarchy, meaning each realm in Olympus is infinite in size. We even have statements for the underworld being infinite in size. And you have even some of the weaker gods like Helios, whose light is able to cover the infinite underworld. Then you have beings like Hermes, who also scale to Helios's light, or sorry, scales above Helios's light, as he's able to move far faster than it. So again, with them being able to basically upscale the Primordials, who are able to create space and time, upscaling from the giants, who are above the Primordials, who are able to create space and time. This will put Kratos, oh sorry, not Kratos, the Olympians in the gods of Olympus at least a complex multiversal level. Alright? So the Greek Pantheon would essentially just scale to this entirely. Now again, we are going to look at God of War 3, which is one of the more popular games as well. I will probably do the other God of War games eventually, but I know that Asura is going to be my next, definitely one of my next God of War versus another character video, if you guys get what I mean. So you have other characters that they also scale above. They also scale above things like fate manipulation. It took the power of hope and the power of fear to really just like best the gods themselves. So in all honesty, yeah, you have a lot of conceptual scaling for the Greek Pantheon here. But anyway, without further ado, let's get on with the first god on our list, and we're actually going to go from god to god, you know, like in order here. I might forget a few, but I don't think most of them were relevant anyway. But yeah, let's talk about Poseidon. Poseidon is actually noted to be the second strongest god on Olympus, or more so, he should be on par with Hades. You know, like Zeus, just like Zeus above everyone else, and then you have like Hades and Poseidon, who are the strongest Olympians afterwards. So it's very consistent to them as well. They're also able to go toe-to-toe and even fight against beings like Atlas, who, as I stated earlier, can hold all the creation out of his shoulders. But again, despite his lightning, despite his hydrokinesis, I think Sun Wukong is going to dog walk him. I think Sun Wukong is going to take that long pole of his and just extend it right through him. I think Sun Wukong could probably just throw his hair, make a couple dozen clones, and then just straight up jump this man and give him basically the fight back treatment. So yeah, I think Sun Wukong actually clears it. He could probably use fire magic or water magic and just outdo Poseidon in that regard. Now next up we have Hades. Now Hades, I do think it would be a little bit difficult for Sun Wukong here. You know, Sun Wukong clears all the demons in the underworld and stuff, and then it's just him and Hades one-on-one. And yeah, I think this is actually going to be one of Sun Wukong's funnest fights, in my opinion. I could actually see the acrobatics, the theatrics that he does here. Him using various weapons, or at least making various weapons out of his, you know, his staff and stuff, or out of his hair, or whatever he wants to create them out of. Just using them to just best Hades. He might just put a couple blades at the end of his staff and, just GG him. Now again, you guys might be wondering, so Legendary, does Sun Wukong have any, astral resistance, any like soul manipulation resistance and stuff, and stuff like that. Now, come on, you guys. You already know I got the evidence on deck. You guys already know I got the receipts for days on here. But again, I do understand where you guys would be concerned here. Well, Hades could just use the claws of Hades here and just GG, rip out his soul, right? No, no, I don't think so. For starters, Sun Wukong is just immortal. Let's really start with that. He's not bounded by death. He's not bounded by any form of death, in fact. Even astral destruction. He can actually go to the same plane as the gods and interact with them. Even interacting with souls. So he has non-corporal interaction. And even then, he could just make a barrier that negates Hades' magic. This is something he's consistently done over and over again. And actually, here's the most messed up thing I found about it. Do you know he can give somebody seizures? Like, on purpose. Like, give somebody a seizure on purpose. Do y'all know how messed up that is? He could just give Hades or any of the other Olympian gods seizures and just be done with it. That is absolutely... I think that's messed up. Like, let's be real. I think that's really messed up. But overall here, I do think he does beat Hades with maybe mid difficulty. Now, as for the fodder here, like Hermes, Helios, and Hercules, as well as the other Titans. Yeah, he beats them. Like, probably much easier than Kratos would because of his sheer all versatility. He may actually just give... give Helios a seizure and just leave him there to die from it. I know it's absolutely ridiculous, but again, it is what it is here. It's Sun Wukong. What are you going to do? Now, Kronos, I think, is actually going to be one of the funnest parts of this entire fight, because, Sun Wukong could just rearrange his guts and just be done with it like Kratos did. I mean, pause, but it is what it is here. And the thing is, even if Kronos swallows him, Sun Wukong's been through that. I think he's been swallowed by a dragon and actually just used the experience to, like, work out inside the dragon. It's absolutely ridiculous here. So, yeah, Sun Wukong clears that. Clears that pretty easily. Now, I think we do need to... Maybe we should do this as an honorable mention. I don't know. What do you guys think? Maybe we should do it, but I think for like the other gods, like let's say like Athena and Gaia, the other Titans as well, the giants or the Titans, my apologies. They also get dog walks. Sun Wukong can just grow to their size and just fight them if he wants to, or just make a dozen giant versions of him and just do it. Now, in all honesty, I actually think Sun Wukong could probably kill all the gods at the same time, probably with his main self just fighting against Zeus. The reason why I say that is he could easily make a Wukong for each of the gods of Olympus here. Like, what's to really stop him from sending Wukongs all over the place, just beating up and just decimating all of Olympus? You just see the Monkey King everywhere, just decimating this Greek pantheon. And I think the only honorable mention, I think the god he wouldn't kill is kind of Hephaestus. I think he would actually feel bad for him because it is in character. He's not an evil or malevolent person. Yeah, he's a menace to society, but again, he's not an evil person. Now, again, Zeus, I do think Sun Wukong is folding him 6-way Sunday. But again, on the lower end, I do think Zeus would be I guess you could say, the hardest fight he has here. This is the king of the gods. Someone who's able to one-shot, or at least could one-shot, characters like Poseidon and Hades. He's actually able to one-shot all the Titans with the Blade of Olympus. Speaking of which, the Blade of Olympus itself, you have to dump all your godly power into it and just... Well, you get a god-slaying weapon, but again, it comes at a cost here. It was the weapon that was actually allowed to kill Zeus here. It was the weapon that one-shotted and banished all the Titans, including the ones like Atlas and... Atlas and Kronos for eternity. Like, It's absolutely ridiculous just how powerful that weapon is. And I'm actually wondering, why didn't they just let Kratos keep that one? Let's ditch the Blades of Exile for a little bit and actually give him the Blade of Olympus. I think that would have been a very good concept. Zeus also has this like fear thing, which is able to erase somebody from existence, but Kratos was actually able to overpower it and beat it with the with the power of hope. So yeah, I don't see how Wukong loses this one. I really just don't here. He could just, honestly, he could overwhelm Zeus. I really just think that's just how it goes here. He can use, energy manipulation, soul manipulation. He could give Zeus a seizure mid-fight. He can use fire manipulation. He could basically just counter Zeus's abilities or just negate them overall. So in all honesty, even at the lowest end, which is crazy, because again, Sun Wukong has 3 layers into outer versal with his basic normal scaling, but again, just going off the lowballing or the lowest end of scaling that Sun Wukong can have here, again, he has complex multiversal, and he could pretty much take out the gods of Olympus like it's nothing. But anyway, that's going to be all for today, you guys. Please comment down below, like and subscribe and share with your friends. And I'll see you guys later for the next video involving Asura versus the Norse Pantheon of God of War. Peace.